Good Shabbos. It's very difficult to get lost these days. With the advent of GPS and having that technology available right on our phones in the palm of our hands, all you have to do is enter in a location and just follow the directions. There is one place, however, that no app in the world will help us locate. And that, of course, is Har Sinai, the mountain on which Moshe received the Torah. Quite intentionally, the precise location of where the Torah was first given has been left a mystery. Which is why there is such a stark contrast with Moshe's review of the Torah in this week's Parsha. When Moshe begins to review the Torah he received on Har Sinai, our Parsha goes to great lengths to describe the exact precise location where Moshe reviewed the Torah. Eila hadvarim asher diber Moshe al kol Yisrael be'ever hayardain. These are the words that Moshe spoke to all of Israel on the other side of the Jordan, where ba'midbar, ba'arava, mol suf, bein paran, uvein tofel, v'lavan, v'chatzeros, v'di zahav. So many place names to identify where Moshe began to review this Torah. And the pasuk says further, Achad asar yom mechorev, derech har seir ad Kadesh Barnea. It was an 11-day journey from Chorev to Kadesh Barnea by way of Mount Seir. And the Torah says even further, Acharei hakoso. When was this review done? After smiting Sichon melech HaMori, ve'es Og melech HaBashan. After the defeat of those giants. And the Torah goes on even further. The Torah continues and says, Be'ever hayardain, be'eretz Moav, ho'il Moshe be'eretz haTorah hazos lemor. On the other side of the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moshe undertook to begin expounding this Torah. I just quoted 4 whole psukim, far too many for any drasha. Such an elaborate description for where Moshe reviewed the Torah, which stands in stark contrast to the mystery of the place in which the Torah was first given. How do we understand such a contrast? Rashi quotes the Medrash Tanchuma that says that Moshe offered the Torah here translated into 70 languages. Doesn't matter that the Bnei Israel didn't understand nearly all of those languages, because what Moshe was doing was demonstrating how the Torah, with its immutable, unchanging mitzvot and ideas, are meant to apply to any language, any culture, at any time. That we don't know the location of where the Torah was first given represents the fact that the Torah doesn't belong to any one time or any one place. It is the fixed, unchanging Word of God. But that the Torah was repeated, explained, expounded in a place that was precisely identified represents how the Torah can apply to every single different circumstance in which we find ourselves. One of the most inspiring aspects of the unique times in which we live is how the Torah and halacha respond to the special circumstances presented by a pandemic. We are able to draw upon so much wisdom and precedent found in our sacred literature, produced by communities that faced other difficult circumstances with similar challenges, and the complexity of our practices and customs, and our ability to distinguish between levels of priority, Oration, Rabbanan, minhag, what things we must observe and what things we can forgo in a time of crisis. All of this has shown the profound relevancy of the Torah in every aspect of our lives, no matter what's going on, when it is explained by Moshe, when it is explained and applied by our rabbis. Perhaps the reason why no GPS will ever find Har Sinai is because the Torah itself is meant to be a sort of GPS. We simply enter in the particular circumstances of our journey into our tradition and then follow its directions. Good Shabbos.